science, if you believe in it. They've discovered something groundbreaking. I think it's pretty clear though. Women are just not turned on by man children. It's a man child, you might ask. We're gonna explain that. But this study is from researchers in Canada and Australia. They've discovered that women's libido just drops off the map anytime they're surrounded or at least near one guy who just doesn't really know how to handle himself. Here's some details. There's one account from one woman named Leanne. She moved into an apartment with one of these so-called man children. She has an account of exactly what this looks like. This is what she said. She goes, "It hit me that he was a man child when he didn't know how to use the washing machine or make the bed." That's what Leanne recalls. He broke her favorite knife, flooded the kitchen, nearly set the flat on fire multiple times, and he would go missing on 3-day benders. He seemed to feel bad, but justified his ignorance by saying his parents never expected him to do any chores at home, is what she said. Now bear in mind, he'd moved out of his parents' house 7 years earlier, is what Leanne pointed out. He's never really had to do any chores, so what the hell, 3-day benders is life. So obviously that guy's like that. But generally speaking, let's clear out exactly who these folks are. Dubbed man children, these men can be characterized by a number of childlike traits, including not noticing that the dishes need washing or bins need emptying, and weaponizing their own incompetence when they eventually do those chores. Being ungrateful for the emotional and physical care provided by their partner, and general helplessness when it comes to taking care of themselves and sometimes their own kids. I think you guys have maybe seen folks like this. Another one of these key characteristics though of a man child appears to be a pattern of listening to their partner's complaints, changing a little bit, maybe things even out, then reverting right back to it. Old habits die hard, of course. This whole thing has been confirmed by science, as I pointed out, so more, because these researchers from the universities in Canada and Australia wanted to know if this dynamic could potentially explain why women in heterosexual relationships, that is, report a low sex drive. They reported, I guess. A recent study published by the Archives of Sexual Behavior Journal found that not only do man children exist, but they're actually killing women's libidos with their ineptitude. Indeed, the researchers found that when women perform more household labor than their partner, they tend to see them like a dependent child. And of course, if you see that, this reduces their sexual desire for that particular person. Now, one of these women that was talking to them said her ex-boyfriend was one of these man children, and she had more information there. Foreplay starts at the moment you wake up in the morning, she said. If you wake up to a million chores and a partner who won't help you, that's a huge turnoff. Foreplay isn't only about warming the body up, it's about warming the mind up too. If your partner constantly does things to show you he respects you and wants to be an active partner in your life, nothing is sexier, says this one particular one about her ex-boyfriend. Clearly that's the problem there. Also, this dynamic that they were studying is about women's satisfaction, but there's more to it, of course, than that. Emily Harris, one of the co-authors to this whole thing, says that this is because there's a few unspoken assumptions about women's sexual desire. One of these is that low sexual desire is caused by individual factors like hormones, stress, general relationship factors like conflict and dissatisfaction. What these assumptions miss though is that the broader context of gender inequity, because they're thinking just women are going, I'm just tired of this guy. I mean, he hasn't shaved. Look at those hairs in the sink, things like that. But it could be more of how you're acting. And they've also looked into not just heterosexual man and woman couples, but also some gay couples as well. It's not always just straight men though. London-based psychotherapist Jordan Dixon rejects the term man-child. Instead, she prefers to use the term adult child because, as she says, anyone can be a child in a relationship regardless of their gender and their sexuality. Dixon also asserts that it regularly occurs in same-sex or even gender non-conforming relationships too. So at least, as it goes, all you gay men out there, look out for your man-child as well. They could be doing the same things to you.
Fair. So man children, I've done your drug. I have confessions coming up later. I'm both guilty and not guilty. But first, Sharon, what's your perspective on this?
They're everywhere. And I like man-child. That fits just right. Myself, every one of my girls, we've all had one or multiple of these man children. As I said, they multiply, they drain you. It's not just that you're physically tired from doing all the work. You have to carry, the mental of the relationship as well. And then when you get with a man who's more capable, if you will, I do think that I have endless energy for everything. So this article spoke to me, okay? This article is my Bible, and I'm sharing it with all of my girlfriends because I gotta tell you something. You exhaust me. man-child. They gotta go. Get rid of them. Figure it out. But we don't want to raise you anymore. We just
Is there any reforming for man-children though, Sharon?
It's got to start within, okay? And I have to say, it starts at home as well. This is why you wouldn't get along with a certain mother-in-law, okay? Meet the mother, that'll tell you right then and there. If the mother sides with you and says, you know what, you're right. I've been trying to get him to clean up his act for years. You can team up, perhaps get him some real help, get him some intense therapy. But for the most part, it's a choice. It's a choice to just kind of be that bump on a log and throw things everywhere. And then they're kind of oblivious too. I could go on and on. It's like you complain, you're obvious about it, and they just go on and on, laughing at Price is Right, Family Feud, like nothing else in the relationship is broken.
Madden.
I actually had one of those, laughing out loud.
Yeah. I was gonna say it sounded a little personal there, but we all have personal stories. So look, first of all, I think the article is fantastic too because I had never considered the chores to man-child pipeline. And so when and a lot of wives say this, like, oh, well, I'm not in the mood because you didn't do the dishes. And I never understood that. I thought that's the most irrational thing I've ever heard. What the hell, how are those two things connected? Well, the article explains how they're connected. And so that's a bit of a revelation, right? Now, at the same time, look, I'm gonna give you a lot of balance here. So first, there's a lot of things that they put in the category man-child. Like, oh, breaks things and stuff. Well, I'm a klutz. That doesn't mean that I'm not respectful. It's just that I happen to be a klutz, right? But did I have a little bit of alligator arms, crocodile arms in doing some chores? Could be, okay. And so, story I tell about like a classic example of that outside of a marriage is a friend of ours used to work at Duetti. Okay, but he's a good guy. When we play football, sometimes you rotate when you're playing pickup football, and you got to play offensive line. He doesn't like playing offensive line. He likes playing quarterback. So every time he plays offensive line, he goes, oh, golly gee, I couldn't block them. And they walk right in and ruin the team, right? So then you got to put him back at quarterback. So that's the man-child going, oh, golly gee, I don't know how to wash the dishes. I guess I got to sit down and watch Family Feud instead. Okay, so does that exist? Yes. Did I do that drug a little bit? A little bit, okay. But a 3-day bender is not in that same spectrum. 3-day bender is like, you got issues, dude. Okay, so that's a little bit different here. But guys, can it be reformed? Of course it can be reformed. I think in a lot of ways, I was reformed on that. And so how do you avoid that man-child trap, if you will? Well, look, the most important thing, if you ask me, is man up, right? And what does that mean to man up? It means to provide, protect, and most importantly, to respect your partner. Hey, what do they want? What do they need? And how do we do an equitable distribution here? If you just, and by the way, the person who said adult child, I laughed, but it's true. This definitely goes in both directions, and I can give you that perspective, having been in many relationships throughout my life. And sometimes you'll have a girlfriend who's just like, no, I'm not gonna do anything. Okay, you do everything. And well, that's also childlike and also unbearable. So it's not related to gender every time, although I get that men do it a little bit more.
I guess the difference is men will be like, yeah, you don't have to do anything. Let's just still go in the room.
Well, you're right about that. You're right. The libido thing is completely different for men and women. And I got affected. Oh, you didn't do the dishes. On the other hand. Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.